Have you ever prayed for something with all your heart, only to hear silence? Or worse, to hear what feels like a no? Maybe it was a relationship you desperately wanted, a job you thought was perfect, or a dream you believed was within reach. And when it didn't happen, you were left wondering, God, why? Don't you care? Don't you see how much this means to me? The Bible tells us that God hears every prayer. Psalm 34 verse 17 says, "The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from all their troubles." But what happens when the answer isn't what we hoped for? What happens when God says no? Could it be that God's no is actually His protection? That He sees what we can't? Proverbs 3:5-6 reminds us, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight." Sometimes, what we think is best for us could lead us down a path of pain, regret, or even destruction. But God, in His infinite wisdom, knows the end from the beginning. Think about it like this. Have you ever been saved from something you didn't even see coming? Maybe it was a near-miss accident, or a decision that could have cost you everything. In those moments, you realize how fragile life is and how much we need God's guidance. Isaiah 55:8-9 says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." God's no isn't a rejection. It's a redirection. It's His way of saying, "I have something better for you." In 2 Corinthians 12:9, Paul writes about a thorn in his flesh, something he begged God to take away. But God said, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Sometimes God's no is an invitation to trust Him more deeply, to rely on His strength rather than our own. And sometimes God's no is simply because He has something better in store. Jeremiah 29:11 is a familiar verse, but it's worth repeating. "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." What if the thing you're praying for is just a placeholder for the greater blessing God wants to give you? So how do we respond when God says no? First, we trust. We trust that He is good, even when His answers don't make sense. Psalm 84:11 says, "No good thing does He withhold from those who walk uprightly." If God is withholding something, it's because it's not good for us, or because He has something better. Second, we surrender. We lay our desires at His feet and say, "Your will, not mine." And third, we wait. We wait with hope, knowing that God's timing is perfect. God's no is never the end of the story. It's an invitation to trust Him more, to lean into His promises, and to believe that He is working all things together for your good. Romans 8:28. So if you're wrestling with unanswered prayers today, remember this. God's silence isn't indifference. His no isn't rejection. It's protection, it's redirection, and it's always, always rooted in His love for you.